Sunshine's Corner, being brought to you by Quint and Richie Studer.
And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into Sunshine's Corner. I want you to sit back and relax today, because today we're going to be talking about the future of our democracy and why every voice still matters. Many believe that the recent Supreme Court decision weakening parts of our Voting Rights Act of 1965 challenges the very sacrifices made by civil rights leaders like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Fannie Lou Hamer, and of course, Congressman John Lewis. But this is not the time to be silent. This is the time to look. We need to organize, we need to educate, we need to mobilize. When democracy is tested, we must become more engaged. The power is still in the people. And the way we push forward is by making sure that every eligible voter shows up, speaks up, and stay involved. So stay with us today, because this conversation is for the community, and you need to know, because we've got with us today our supervisor of election. We've got Mr. Robert Bendis going to tell us about some things that you need to make sure that you have already correct. And of course, we've got Mr. Derek Scott. He is the chair with the Democratic Party, and we're going to talk about the Supreme Court ruling. And I want to say to you guys, welcome for coming in with me today, because it is a strategic conversation that we need to continue to have. And I want to say this, I'm going to go to Robert first, because I want to talk about some of the things that after the Supreme Court did this decision, and with all these blocking off and cutting off and changing this and changing that, how is Escambia County affected by that with the areas of voting, and what do our viewers need to know?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me back on. It was good to see both of you all again.
Yeah, this is our monthly thing.
Right. So one, and I want to say, is that it's not going to impact people's right to vote in Escambia County.
Okay.
Right. So number one, and there have been some other laws that I think have passed since we came on. 991, House Bill 991 in the state has passed, and so there's a lot of talk in the community about, am I going to have trouble voting at the polls?
Right.
And I'm going to say no. Okay, so if you're currently a registered voter, if you voted in the last election, then you're not going to have an issue voting. And we'd say you can always check your status to make sure you're registered. Go to our website.
Right.
Am I registered? Give our office a call. We'll be happy to help you to make sure that you're. We're going to do a campaign. Be election ready, right? So
exactly.
Make sure you know everything. And so, but that ruling is not going to impact being able to vote in Escambia County.
So it's not going to affect any of the. I want to say that it's not going to affect District 3. It's not going to mess with anything with the highly populated.
So, right now. Now, of course, and I saw an article on it this morning talking about how they may redraw county commission districts,
exactly.
They may redraw city council districts. They will not do that this year. It'll most likely be next year. So that could impact what district you're in. I think the city had 2 of the 7 were majority minority that they had. I saw something about the city maybe doing something. And so I don't have anything to do with that, though.
Right.
That ultimately is decided by your county commissioners, the city council members, and the school board members. We are there to assist them and provide maps so that we're all on the same page and we know what we're doing. But ultimately, it would be those elected officials that make changes to someone's district, city council, county commission, school board, something like that. So
yeah, I think what's important to note is that the Louisiana versus Calais decision,
exactly,
it impacted what we, as Robert just mentioned, the majority minority districts. It basically outlaws that, because what the Supreme Court says is that using race as a factor when drawing districts violates the Equal Protection Clause. That's what their ruling was, right? So essentially, to his point right now, as we go into vote in 2026, we won't see an impact in terms of how we vote. But what we will see going forward is where we and what districts we're in and who our representative is going to be. I think from our standpoint, the redrawing of the congressional maps, as you would agree, doesn't impact us here in Escambia County.
Exactly.
The congressional district is still the congressional district. You can't make it more red. It's red, right? So But what we will say is, right now in Escambia County, from the county perspective, District 3 is the majority minority district. That's the one district that we have. There is a possibility that a district could be carved up, making it no longer majority minority. But if what I will say is that probably wouldn't be to the other party's best interest to do that, or anybody's best interest to do that, because what you do is you make the other opportunities.
So what you're saying is that the Republicans will say that that would not affect them as much if you leave it like it is.
Well, if you leave it as it is, you get the same result.
Right.
Carving it up produce a very different result in who your representation is.
Okay.
So what you look at it, because you can't put District 3 into District 1 or District. It's either going into 2 or 4, right?
Right.
And so that makes those districts more democratic. We already saw that in 2022 in District 2, which is currently represented by Mike Kohler on the County Commission. That is, they made it more blue. So there's a smaller Democrat to Republican gap in that district. And similarly in District 4, although the gap in District 4 is a little larger, but in District 2, it's less than 5,000 people. So when you look at it, moving more Democrats into District 2 makes the opportunity to have a Democratic representative in District 2 all the more feasible. Conversely, if you do it in District 4, it would do the same thing as well. So.
I mean, because I want people to understand the fact of what that's what's happening right now. It's affecting everybody, and even when I hear, and why I wanted to have Robert talk about this first, because of the things where they're saying that there's going to be changes in how you vote, that you got to produce so many other pieces of documents in order for you to vote. Is that going to happen in Florida? Because when you hear on every other piece of media, we are in that realm of those southern states. Florida, right here. We're right at the blink of it. What is it that, documents that they got to have? They're saying you got to have a passport. How many people walk around with a passport?
And so you won't have to vote, right? If you have your driver's license, so one is that the state ran my voter database through the SAVE database in October of last year. We contacted those people who came back as possible non-citizens to work their case. And so if you didn't get one of those letters, or haven't gotten a letter subsequently saying you've been removed because you didn't respond to the first letter, you're again, this is why we say go on, check your registration.
Right, 595-3900.
Yep, and make sure you're registered. So that hasn't, again, your passport is one of the things you can bring to vote, but you will not be required to show a passport.
You can still show your driver's license or your non-driver's ID.
Correct. Correct. And also,
here it is right here. Be election ready.
Be election ready. So the other thing is that what you can use in order to show as your picture ID in the state of Florida will not change for 2026. That part goes into effect in 2027. So that'll go into effect, and it'll be things like your benefits card, neighborhood association, credit card, debit card, student ID, things like that are going to go away. And I'll try to send it in the break. I have a slide I can send. So that'll go away. But again, nothing changes for this year. The other thing is that the citizenship that they're asking people to show will be for new registrants. So if you're already registered, you're not going to be required to bring something to my office to show that you're a citizen. Again, you've already gone through the check. You've been checked, and we've gotten back that you're a citizen.
So what is this I was reading about that you may even have to bring your birth certificate?
Again, that would be for new registrants would have to do that, but not for currently registered voters.
Wow.
So I just want to be clear, because I don't think that you guys or the law has really technically been all the way flushed out for currently registered voters right now, or the impact that HB 991 is going to have. So I think what I would recommend is that I would always tell people is that at this point in time, because we don't have a full scope of what the impact looks like, is to have your birth certificate. Make sure you have it. Now, what I'm not saying is that you need to take your birth certificate when you go vote. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that you need to be able to place your hands on it if needed. So everybody should have that copy. I think a passport would suffice as well, because in order to have a passport, you have to have your birth certificate, right? But the bare minimum should be your birth certificate and finding out where
because
that is.
I think like this, how many people get a passport? I didn't get a passport until I decided to go on a cruise.
Right.
And it's 2026, I got to have it renewed.
Right.
But the facts that the question I'm saying like this, what we should prepare our viewers, our people, to do this. If you have access to your birth certificate, get it. If you have it,
Yeah.
get it.
Well, and Derek's right. We don't know the full. I mean, we are
Right.
still seeking clarification ourselves. Everything that we've seen is that the currently registered will be okay. The other thing is if you are a new registrant, and again, that goes into effect January 1, 2027, is that you do it once. Once you do it, it'll go on your record that it's been checked, and you're done. It'll stay with you. If you move over to Santa Rosa, you move down to the villages, whatever. It'll move with you. And so but again, if for some reason you get to your polling site or early vote site and there is an issue, you have the right to have a provisional ballot. And then you have until 5 p.m. on that Thursday after the election, so 46 hours after the polls close, to get information to the supervisor's office that, again, that birth certificate or whatever. Yeah. Now, we were talking about it the other day, though.
Will that vote be counted?
If you get me that information within the 46 hours.
Okay.
And that's the thing, is that we have your ballot in our hands by the time the polls close. You have almost, the 2 days almost to get us that information to make sure that we can count your ballot. But in conversations we've had with the supervisors, we close our books 29 days before the election, and so new registrants would have that time to work them, to communicate with them, so they would have almost a month to be able to get us that information, if that's the case. So again, we have so many days to process a new application once we get it in, and so I think that. Again, if there are issues, we'll be in contact with the voter before they go to the polls to let them know, and we'll be working that.
I got you. And I'm bringing these facts up because I've been doing a lot of reading. I have been doing so much searching to make sure that with these changes that has been put in effect, I'm talking about the Supreme Court for what they did, and how with the southern states how it's being affected. And yes, I'm going to be absolutely transparent. It is pointed toward the black community. I didn't say people of color. I said black community. It is pointed toward the black community. So what I want to do is educate them with your help, because I don't know your job. With your help, I don't know your job, but I do know how to read and comprehend. I do know what I hear and how I can translate, because I think right now the issue is the greater importance of what's happening now with these things that are taking place at this time of the year. At this time of what's happening, everybody knows this is the year of the primaries. Yeah. So if we can hinder and turn, that will take effect. But I also read, and I was listening to this person that I like to listen to in Atlanta, and as he was saying, we can still not allow democracy to try to change us. We can change democracy by being visible, by being louder than you've ever been, and surely making sure that you show up at the polls, making sure that you exercise your right to vote. I say that because if there are going to be complications, I want everybody that's under the tone of my voice, that can see my face and that can hear me when we're even on my online thing, when we're doing that, to hear how important it is this year, especially. We are not, and but let's be real, with this Supreme Court ruling, and everything that's taking place, even when I'll go back and I was reading about Governor Kay Ivey, what she did immediately in Montgomery. Immediately. The next day she called a meeting. Mobile, the next day they had a meeting. What I'm saying is today, that we as Floridians, the South, we're on that southern tip, we are affected as well. I would rather be prepared than not. I want us to stop saying, okay, we recognize the problem. Now let's come up with a game plan. We have got to organize. We have got to implement these things that we do organize to make sure that we're not affected, because we can't go backward. I refuse to go back. We're going to move forward. I'm speaking now to our viewers today. This is back in 1965 when the Voting Rights Act. When you think about John Lewis, who died just a few years ago. And as I was listening to a mayor in another city, who's a friend of mine in Montgomery. And the question is to you, our viewers, are you ready? Are you willing to stand up and fight? Are you ready for a water hose? I'm giving you that visual. Are you ready for a dog? This is the mindset that we have got to put ourselves in order to overcome where we are.
Yeah.
It's got to be a fight, because I'm one that will not accept this. You're not going to just give me what you think I should have.
Right.
You're not going to just do that. I know my worth. I know my value. I know who died for me. But what we got to do now is educate the people. Educate. And I wanted to talk with Robert, with you, Robert, and you opened it up, and I want people to feel comfortable that they can come to the registrar's office.
Yep.
They can go online. If people are not computer savvy, pick up that phone.
Pick up the phone.
850-595-3900.
Yep.
And you get a live person.
You do. And we always hear great comments about how great they are
Exactly.
in the service that they
Exactly.
provide.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
take that to heart.
They are.
'Cause
I've done that
I
before
do.
just to make sure I'm okay.
Yes. So one, I do want your viewers to realize that, I represent everybody in Escambia County.
Exactly.
And my job is to make sure that we run safe, accurate, secure elections, and everyone who is eligible to vote is able to do so.
Exactly.
Right? And so my hope, and I think we will have this, is that if you go to vote this year, and I hope that you do, August 18th, November
Exactly.
3rd, early vote before
That's
that,
right.
or vote by mail,
Yeah.
you will not see any difference in what we're doing.
Okay.
Your experience will
See
not
that
change.
vote by mail there? That's
Right.
what it does?
Vote by mail. So just yesterday I approved the mailer to go out. So anyone who voted by mail in 2024 and has not renewed their request, we're going to send them another postcard
wonderful.
to let
Okay,
them know
good.
that they need to renew it. That our records indicate. I changed language. Our records indicate you have not renewed your vote by mail since the 2024 general election cycle. You have to renew it every election cycle, and if you would like to vote your ballot by mail, then
Okay.
go to here. One of the things you can do is again scan that QR code. Probably takes you right to the vote by mail page on our website. Call the number, and then as part of the security that Florida has done, you will be asked to give us your driver's license or your last four of your social security number. If you have recently gotten a new driver's license, we can verify it if you didn't update your registration, and we can actually go ahead and update your registration with that new driver's
With that
license
new number.
when you call. So again, a little extra security. We're making sure that we do get the word out that you need to renew that vote by mail request. We're in I think it's the third cycle now, second cycle now that we've had to do that. 24 after 22 they got wiped clean. 24 everyone had to request one. 26 are going to have to request one. We were fortunate. I say fortunate with the special election in early 25.
Yeah.
We got about half of our people had already renewed their request.
Yeah.
Around the state, they're well below half.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so we're a little bit ahead of the game, but we want to go ahead and get people to have those requests in because it's already upon us. We'll be mailing out ballots the week after July 4th.
It's going to be here before we know it.
It will be. It will be.
Exactly.
And when are you sending out the?
Hold on, let's go to that. I got to go take a
Okay.
break.
Okay.
We'll go back to that. We want to come back. So I got another question: how we get even with the new voters, all this, how all the information they got to make sure they have it and comfortable with it. Stay with us, ladies and gentlemen. If you would like to be a part of this conversation, I invite you to do so. 850. I'm going to give you your number.
Well, that would get them a part of the conversation.
850-432-7768. That's the number you can call here today. Be a part. Don't be silent. Let me hear from you right here on Sunshine's Corner.
I learned during my military service to train every day to fight and fight to win. If you've been injured in an accident, you already know one thing for sure. The insurance companies are going to fight you for every dollar you deserve. At Michelson Booth, we settle most of the cases we handle. But if the insurance companies choose to fight, well, we're okay with that too. If you've been injured in an accident, choose a law firm that's got the resources, training, and stomach for the fight. Michelson Booth. Don't be a victim twice.
Nestled in the heart of Pensacola, Dorothy's is a one-of-a-kind, community-driven cocktail bar by Oasis, Florida, created to sustain vital HIV and STI care across the Florida Panhandle. Inspired by the Wizard of Oz, rooted in inclusion and dripping with character, Dorothy's is a welcoming space with award-winning Oz-inspired cocktails, food by Steel Pony Diner, and an unmatched atmosphere. Join us 7 days a week in downtown Pensacola, located directly across from Maritime Park and the Blue Wahoo Stadium.
Step into your hometown boot store right here in Pensacola, Florida. The largest selections of Western boots and attire, including our own style of custom Anderson bean. The boot store also carries a great selection on workwear from boots to fire-resistant clothing. When you're looking for authentic wear, accompanied with authentic service, show up at your hometown boot store where you're more like family than you are a customer. And remember, the savings and selection are found behind the big red boot.
At FPL, we plan for storm season all year long. We're strengthening poles to better withstand severe weather. We're clearing lines to improve resiliency, and we're constantly training teams to act at a moment's notice. Because we're always working, always preparing. So when storms do hit, you can count on us. FPL, working for you every single day.
And welcome back to a very important conversation. You are in the midst of Sunshine's Corner, but we talk about what needs to be talked about right here. This is where purpose meets power. And I do believe conversation will create change, and that's what happens here every single day. I want to thank my guests for coming in today, Derek Scott, and of course with Robert Bender. I can say something to these two, what I love about Robert. I don't care what time I text him, I got you. I mean, the response, if I did, nope, that's good right there. But the fact of it is, that's her email address right there.
All right, I'll get there.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. But what we're talking about now, we were talking about the mail-in, the ballots. Robert, how important is it for younger people who are registering for the first time? What information do they got to make sure that they have, because this is their first time stepping up? Let's say if these kids coming out of high school just getting ready to go out to vote for the first time, what is it they can have to make sure that they are secure that their vote is going to be handled right?
Sure. One, we go out to all the high schools each year.
Really?
We'll sit there usually during the lunch hour and try to get them to register to vote. It is part of our requirement under statute to get into each high school. And then we do other things like Escambia High School. We ran their student elections a couple weeks ago, and so just to be visible in the high schools. But so they will need their driver's license number.
Put a pin right there.
Okay.
Are they excited about voting?
Some. We had not the turnout we had. I started worrying. I said maybe we're not going to have enough ballots or something like that. And a lot of people just went to lunch. And I mean, they had to walk by us, and some of them would ask what's going on. But even when you don't have to be registered, you just have to say you were a freshman, sophomore, or junior to vote, and that we didn't have a lot.
That's what we got to work on. Keep going.
Yeah. Okay. But again, that's why we do some of these things. I tell the kids, see how easy it is. Ask your parents to take you to vote when they go vote. Tell them that you did this and that you want to, again, when your kid comes and asks you to do something with them, it's tough to say no. So I do try to pull on that a little bit. But they would need their driver's license or the last four of their identification card or something like that. Again, you can pre-register when you turn 16. A lot of people, when they get their driver's license, they'll pre-register.
Right.
And then once they turn 18, I just send them a letter that says, congratulations, you're registered to vote, and here's your voter information card, and see you at the polls.
They're ready. Okay.
And so, and again, so right now they don't have to have that additional identification like the birth certificate to get registered. Again, that goes into effect 1/1/27. So it's easy. You can do it online. You can go to our website and click register now and start the process and do that. Again, if you don't have the driver's license or something like that, then we can work through that. So it's easy to register to vote.
Okay.
Right? And then we'll send you a sample ballot coming up in front of the election. You can request that vote by mail. And then, so you asked about the security of it. So we're trying to be more informed, letting voters know more detail about the status of their vote-by-mail ballot, to include where it is in the USPS system. We're trying to add tracking to that, so even we know where it is. You can go to Track My Ballot, and again, am I registered? There's one there. We're working with another company called Ballot Tracks that will help send push messages to them.
Okay.
Your ballot's been received. Your ballot's here. Your ballot's there.
Right. I got you.
And then, but ultimately, if there is an issue with the signature when it comes back, we notify them.
I got you.
We let them know of hey, there's an issue with your signature, and again, you have until that 5 p.m. on Thursday after Election Day to get us that cure affidavit with a picture of your driver's license or something to make sure your ballot gets counted.
Absolutely.
I also think it's important to know when he talks about the notification, that's why when you complete your vote by mail ballot, and they ask you for your email address and they ask you for your telephone number, it's important that you put it on there so that in case there is a situation, they can rectify it. You'll be able to be notified immediately and can remedy the situation ahead of time.
I think we got to make sure that our young people are aware of this, because I mean, with the older group, we see where we get the older people out there. They vote.
And again, I would say my contact information, other than mailing address, is not really great. You know, and so I actually added it to the bottom of the envelope this time. It says this is to contact you if there's an issue with your ballot. We aren't adding it to their voter record. This is really just to be able to contact them if there's issues. So please fill it out. A lot of people don't, and so then I mean I use whatever means I can. I've used I've gone to WebElect to try to get somebody's number because they have better information than I do sometimes.
Absolutely.
And so, but yes, we'll definitely send you a letter. We try to call and get with you, and even I make those calls as we get closer to Election Day if we haven't heard from you.
Absolutely.
I also want to bring up, because there's since the last time we voted by mail, there's been a change in the U.S. Postal Service regulations or code. I don't know if they're called, whatever they're called, where it's the postmark date. It doesn't go by when you drop it off anymore. You know, let's say you put something in the mail today, doesn't necessarily now, the law doesn't mean that it's going to necessarily be postmarked today. It's postmarked when they get to it. So,
because it tells you on the box when it's postmarked, it's telling what time to look for. That's going to be postmarked.
You want to make sure, particularly if you're voting by mail, two things. You want to make sure, if at all possible, if you can drop it off at the post office and give it to a teller to have them put that stamp on there. That way, you know, you're sure that it's going to get where it needs to go in the time that it gets there in order for your ballot to count, right? That's number one. Number two, the best option, which I always appreciate and I love, is that the supervisor of elections always has the early drop boxes at each one of the early voting locations, so that if you don't want to wait on the process of the U.S. Postal Service, you can take it to any one of the 10 early voting locations. Drop it off there, and you're good to go, right? That way you know it's in the hands of who it needs to get to at the time it needs to get there.
And I understand all this, but what we got to do now, I'm just going to call peanut butter. We understand this process here. We've talked about this process forever. What we've got to do now is capitalize on talking to the people to make sure they get the vote, even to get the ballot. I mean, because the ballots are being sent out, but we got to find out, we got to organize something to make sure when they get that ballot, it's not just thrown over in file 13, that it's going back into the mailbox. What my question is to you now, with this, and we see what's happening, we see the, oh my God, how quickly this process is going. It's not wasting any time. We cannot sit back and relax. We have really got to stand firm now to make sure that everything is done. With you, Derek, how does many civil rights advocates who are fighting for this right now, this moment is really critical. When I say critical, the critical turning point in voting, the critical turning points in the rights in America. How are we handling this to make sure that everybody out there understands the totality?
Yeah, you know, I think right now the message should be is that they're twofold. We have, especially here in Escambia County, we have a large number of people who are eligible to vote, who are unregistered. That's number one. So the message for those folks needs to be, okay, you know, we've continued to talk about vote like your life depends on it. Your life literally is depending upon this at this point in time, right? So we need to get those people registered. But more importantly, we got to focus on voter turnout, because you could have 200,000 people registered, and it does no good if only 50,000 of those people actually come out and vote. Every single person who is registered.
So what's
needs
the
to
link
come
that's
out
missing
to do it.
that we're not motivating, that we can't get these people motivated to come out and vote?
Yeah, I think it's trying to understand, and again, we've talked about this. I think it's putting an understanding of how this is impacting you on a day-to-day basis, right?
Don't they drive the car? Don't they see
drive-
gas is $5?
Everybody goes. I went to Walmart just the other day because I'm too cheap for Target, right? Well, of course. Plus, I'm also black, and I'm not supposed to be.
thank you.
I'm
I
not
don't
supposed to be in Target, right? So I don't go to Target, right? But just going to Walmart, I got like 5 things, and it was $74. I'm not talking about 5 big things, it's little things, and I ended up paying $74, and I'm like, wow. I think financially right now I'm blessed to be able to do that, but everybody's not in my situation,
No,
right?
they're not.
And when we go to the gas station, understanding the price of gas is higher, and people say the president doesn't control the price of gas, which in normal circumstances that is correct. The president doesn't control the price of gas.
But with the war.
But in this situation,
But with a war.
because we're in an unnecessary, uncostly, inexpensive war.
It's affecting everybody.
It's affecting everybody, right? And you have to understand that cost of gas is also going to increase the price of goods that you're paying.
Exactly.
When you go to Walmart. So you thought it was expensive before, it's super expensive now. And God bless you if you got to pay for diesel gas. I don't know who anybody might want to sit down. But at this point in time, I think it's trying to connect the dots. And we keep spending, the southern states have been so quick to draw. When we talk about, I'll stick to the state of Florida right now. State of Florida, the legislators have yet to pass a budget. But when it came time to affect the voting rights of people of color, and specifically black folks, they got that done quick, fast, in a hurry, right? So it makes you wonder, where are the priorities? And to the point, not all people of color, specifically black people, because we're seeing,
That's what I'm saying.
just like in Alabama, we don't see it as much because the impact from the congressional redistricting here in the state of Florida hasn't seemed to have that much of an impact on us here in Escambia County. But we all hear the news, all we get is Mobile news, and Shamari Figures, who hadn't been in Congress 2 years yet. His seat is already up, right? The Kay Ivey is redrawing his district
Already,
the Supreme Court just had them putting that district in what, 2022? So 2024 was the first time that he was elected, and here we are 2 years later. They've cut it out. We're seeing it in Tennessee. The maps that they're drawing right now, if you overlay 2026 with the new proposed maps in each one of the southern states, is identical to what it looked like Jim Crow and before.
And back in the day.
and that's telling, right? And you have to understand, I think we're missing the
Tennessee
link.
is 64% black.
Right. We have to right. Yet the representation doesn't look like that,
That's right.
I think when we
I gotta
look
go
at
take
that,
a break, because she keeps telling me, take a break.
break.
Look, we gotta come back, because I want you to hear this, because we've got to, and when I say we, you're included in this we.
Yeah.
You're in that us. We've got to come up with something that we can put together, because if you see, just like with the demonstration of laying a map over a map, this is not 1965. This is 2026. We got to do something. Let me hear from you. Now, if I was talking about giving you a diamond ring, that phone would be ringing all over. But I want to hear from you when it's something concerning your life, your children, your longevity, your livelihood. Let's talk about it right here on Sunshine's Corner.
For 75 years, we've been caring for families, creating jobs, and working to build a healthier community. This is your home, and ours too. We're honored to be the trusted partner in your care. Baptist Healthcare, here for you then, now, and always.
I'm Kathy Holsworth, Artistic Director at Pensacola Little Theater. Join me on the first Monday of every month at 7 p.m. for the Center Stage, where me and my artistic friends talk about all things on the stage and at the Clark Family Cultural Center. Join us, won't you?
Early detection saves lives. The Florida Department of Health in Escambia County's Regional Florida Breast and Cervical Cancer Early Detection Program is hosting a mobile mammography event on Wednesday, May 20th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 1718 East Olive Road in Pensacola, Florida. Free or low-cost mammograms will be provided to eligible women 40 to 64 who do not have health insurance and have low income. Walk-ins are welcome. To see if you qualify, call 850-316-2706.
And welcome back. Did you hear me hold that? And you're back. Welcome back to the hottest spot in town. We're having a conversation today that we should have all the time. We're talking about what you got to know coming from the Supervisor of Elections Office and what you need to know with the Supreme Court ruling, how it's affecting us. What we've got to be aware of. Don't expect anything, but be prepared for everything. We were talking about something that happened in 1988? 84. Talk about that.
So one of the things, there was a court case in 1984 as part of the Voting Rights Act that they cited about the majority minority districts, and that and so from that we were under a court order that Escambia County Commission were single member districts. So members of County Commission District 4 vote for County Commission District 4. Residents of County Commission District 3 vote for County. So the Florida statute, it is they're at large. So everybody in the county, like they do in Santa Rosa County and in Okaloosa, everybody votes for all the county commissioners. They just have to live in the district they represent. And so we will probably see somebody challenge that court ruling. And so one of those changes we may see is that you're going to have everybody across the county voting on the county commissioners versus that single member district.
So long or short, Commissioner Lumen May's district right now, only Lumen May's District 3 people vote. Right. Now, everybody will vote for District 3. So, which essentially no longer allows you to have Democratic representation in District 3, even though the majority of the people who live in District 3 are Democrats and are black. That's no longer going to be your representation. What will most likely be your representation is Republican influence now, or someone not of color representing in that seat.
Because I do want to say that there are some people not of color that are voting, against this stuff that's happening. When it comes to, I'm trying to pull something out of you. I'm pulling at something. Yeah. With what's happening now with the ruling of the Supreme Court, and we see how quickly this is affecting the southern states. Why is it so important that with this ruling of the Supreme Court that is targeted, why do you think they're trying to stop the black vote?
Well, I think it's a much larger conversation. Yes, you're correct. It is about targeting black folks. But when we talk about this, it's not a power grab by the man in the White House, right? This is a very specific point. Again, we go back to, we had the playbook because it was
Project 2025, going step by
step, what was going to happen.
And it's happening.
This is not new. But what this is it's a very deliberate attempt to solidify the House and the Senate, particularly to get to a 2/3 majority representation of Republican members of the House. And you ask, what's specific about 2/3? Why do you need 2/3? 2/3 majority representation is what allows you to make adjustments to the Constitution. And we've already heard members of the House, even of the local states House, talk about specifically repealing the 14th Amendment.
Exactly.
So when you look at this, and the 14th
Amendment means
that black folks are
cannot even sue anybody if they come at me with racist things.
Right. So
that's what I want you to say.
They don't have citizenship. So it allows you to effectively in birthright citizenship.
Right.
Meaning that people who were born in the United States can't always claim that they're United States citizens. That's what that amendment now says. So right now, 14th Amendment, if you're born here, you're an American citizen.
Right.
Doing away with that
right.
makes you no longer the case.
Exactly. So what are we trying to get our people to understand? I'm being raw today, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not beating around the bush. I'm not going to say it pretty. I want to just put it out there in layman's terms.
Yeah.
If you don't do this, if they take away 14, this is what's going to happen to you. If you are discriminated against, you don't even have the right to go get a lawyer to even represent you if you are discriminated against.
If you're someone who relies on public assistance,
you won't be able to use that.
If you're someone who gets disability,
you won't be able to
get it. If you have public housing,
you won't be able to.
All these things, WIC, all those things are only eligible to get those things if you are a United States citizen.
Exactly.
If you aren't a United States citizen, those things go away from you.
Exactly.
Your whole livelihood changes.
Exactly.
Or people who are interested in receiving financial aid go to school.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Well,
we know that they've already reached after the touched
right.
after the HBCUs.
Right.
And whereas they were getting $16 billion,
right.
wanted to offer $2 million a year. Oh,
right.
come on, $16 billion?
Right.
But my point for saying all of this, ladies and gentlemen, it really aggravates me to the core that I want to see more. What's the word can I say? I want to see more involvement from you. I'm not going to depend on Derek to take care of what I need to take care of. I'm not going to depend on Robert to take care of what I need to make sure is done for Sunshine. So I want each and every Sunshine there to do what you need to do for your Sunshine. You do that for yourself because this is happening. Don't wait till August gets say, oh, I went there and I found that I couldn't. Then your voice, you've already voted then, okay?
Yeah.
Then you've made your vote. When you don't speak loudly, don't let nobody take away what's rightfully yours.
Right.
We can't stand by and let that happen because of the fact you see what's happening. It's not just being talked about, it's been put into motion.
Right.
So therefore things are happening. So we can't idly sit here and just say, oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to be all right. I don't know about you, but it's hitting me in my pocketbook.
Yeah.
It's hitting me in mine. And I mean hard. But the fact of it is, I don't want to have to go out and do you understand the message I'm trying to convey? I don't see that livelihood because we're talking a few months away that you got to vote in this primary. If they get the primary, you better put on your boots.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just telling a spade a spade.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. And again, I'll say it because everybody's like, Derek, you won't say it. And I'm going to say it. I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it. I'll say it again. This time I'm saying it on television. If you are black and you are not voting, you are just the same. You're no different than the people who are trying to take the stuff away from you.
Exactly.
Right now. You're problematic. There's a problem there. Everybody should be. If you have the ability to vote, you should be voting.
So I've talked to you about the turnout.
Yeah.
Right. I showed that to you. So
So
Democrats make 30% of Escambia County, and in the 24 election, I think they had 29% of the people who showed up to vote were Democrats. So they were -1.
Right.
In the special election on April 1, they were 37%. They were +7 of the turnout.
Okay.
And so, and you saw the difference in the result.
Right.
So again, I think it is all about turnout.
It is.
For again, whoever can turn out the vote. I mean, we've always said that's always been the case. Right? Whoever can turn out the vote,
that's who'll get it.
Is you're going to see. But
do you see what the percentage of what percentage is it of the younger generation that does not show up?
So historically, our 18 to 25 is either our lowest or second lowest turnout in terms of numbers, even though they're the second highest in terms of numbers.
Exactly.
And so I think I said it last time. If 18 and 25-year-olds, if you want your parents and grandparents to continue to make decisions for you, then stay at home. I don't want you to stay at home. I want you to get out and vote, right?
Exactly.
Again, my job is to count the votes. It is not to make the votes. It is to give the voters the opportunity to have their voice be heard.
Right.
That is my job. That is not going to change with any of these court rulings, anything like that. And so I've been a little bit quiet. I don't. But the other thing is that I've got to make sure I'm, in the position that I'm in is that I stay neutral.
Yeah.
And
of
again, but my job is to make sure that people can go vote and their vote is counted. So,
exactly. And don't nobody think I'm trying to tell you not to vote. I'm telling everybody to go vote. I'm not telling you who to vote for, but I'm telling you to vote.
Yeah.
Exercise your right. I don't care what your choice is, But the fact of it is, exercise your right. It is your right.
Yep.
What kind of message can we do, Robert? How can the churches, the schools, we see about the schools though, nonprofits, community organizations increase voter awareness and turnout? How can we get involved with people of that nature? Because you see all these things that's happening. Mm-hmm. Can we do voter registration? Have them? Do you have to sign up to be a voter registrar?
Yes, that's a whole nother issue. I'll just say that. So that again, state of Florida's created these third-party voter registration organizations, and you have to be registered with the state, and you have to take training, and you have all these things you have to do. But what I usually do is I'll just give the Democratic Party a stack of applications and a return envelope to my office that says, have somebody fill it out, have them mail it. Postage is paid for, and then that way they don't fall into that category, right? So they avoid having the risk of getting fined for not turning it in time or to all that.
So what you're saying is that if they get the application, that they can become a voter registrar? Get their application in?
You have to register with the state.
All of those entities.
It's how many you can have in your possession and all sorts of little rules and regulations they put around it. Yeah. Of course, we're out in the community. We were at the Fred Levin Fest a couple weeks ago. We go to the senior dining facilities. I said we go to the high schools. So we
go to church with me.
But I think part of it is, but you ask what to do. Talk about it. I mean, you think about it. You have so many people that will only vote in a presidential year because it's for the president.
Right.
But as I think we've talked about today, is that your city council members, your county commissioners,
this is so important.
Your House district members, your Congress, which is every 2 years, they're going to have a bigger impact on you than the president. Mm-hmm. And so this is the year that we're electing a governor in the state of Florida. Mm-hmm. The primaries, you're gonna decide who's going to be up. So I think talking about it helps. If they're talking about it, then it becomes front of mind.
Exactly.
And again, I'm going to be doing more advertising this year to try to get people more aware of it.
Right.
But here's the thing. If you are a registered voter in Escambia County and you do not request a vote by mail ballot, you will get a sample ballot in the mail or via email. Right?
Okay.
So I do that to everyone. So you shouldn't say I didn't know it was coming or I didn't know what was on the ballot.
Just open and do what you got to do.
Right. We send one to everybody. Yeah. And so I think understanding the importance of it, because historically we are in that mid 70s % for a presidential turnout. When we go to a gubernatorial general election, we're usually in the low 50s. Now, hopefully we can get close to 60%, which is where we were in 2018 when we had the last open gubernatorial seat. But again, a 20-25 point spread of people deciding not to go vote for the governor, even though they're still voting for county commission, they're still voting for city council, mayor this year, all those things that are going to have, I'd say, more of an impact on their daily life.
This
they don't
year
show up
more
to vote.
than ever.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, got to go to break. Look, I tell you, when you were talking, got to go to break. Listen to this. Get this information today. Now, remember now, this show will replay this afternoon at 6 o'clock. I want to encourage you to sit back and just take notes. Sit back, and once you take notes, put them into action. Action speaks so much louder than words. We can talk about things, but I want you to be about it. This is utterly important. And get this, it's targeted for you. We'll be back with more right here on Sunshine's Corner.
My name's Kelly McLeod. I'm the owner of Bella Magazine. Bella is a source of uplifting and inspiring content for the women of Pensacola.
I think the magazine is just so thoughtfully done. There's a lot of attention to detail. The stories are really good.
You've got seriousness, you've got fun, education, fashion. It just encompasses everything.
Women are multidimensional, and so is Bella.
The Emerald Coast Utilities Authority's state-of-the-art materials recycling facility processes recyclables for communities throughout the region, lowering need for more landfills. This highly efficient recycling service accepts glass, paper, cardboard, plastics, aluminum, and more. But we need your help. Please make sure your recyclables are clean of garbage, food, and liquids. Also, please remember that plastic shopping bags, foam products, or yard waste are not recyclable. To learn more, go to livegreenecua.com.
From the efficiency of American natural gas and the dependability of nuclear power, to the strength of Florida's sunshine and the flexibility of advanced battery storage systems, We leverage a diverse mix of energy sources to power our growing state, ensuring reliable, low-cost power for your home or business whenever you need it. FPL, working for you every single day.
Well, I think it's all about local, and I'm a big believer in local. So I think anytime you can carry a message out locally, it's important. And I think it's anytime the person that delivers the service can also deliver the message, which is unusual. You have the people that actually deliver the project doing the talking, and I think that's a huge difference, and really makes a huge value difference for the consumer. So I'm really just so grateful that we have this local opportunity with Blab TV. My name is Quint Studer, and I am Blab TV.
And welcome back to the hottest spot in town. I tell you what, when the conversation goes this quickly, I can't believe we said the last break. I mean, we've got so much to talk about. But there's we got another flight that we need to show.
I did. So we talked about this earlier, and I was going to put it on the screen.
I think she told me it's ready to put it on the screen.
And so we were talking about the forms of acceptable forms of picture ID that are available. And so, as I said, the driver's license, Florida ID, U.S. There it is. All right. So those are all the ones that were accepted in 24 and will be accepted in 26. The ones in red will be removed on 1/1/27. So again, you're talking about passport. You know, do I need to? You don't have to have your passport if you have your Florida driver's license or your Florida ID. That'll work. A government employee, anyone except school board members, city, county, state, local would work, but they exempted school board employees. Again, your VA card, your concealed carry. So your public assistance and your retirement. So what's
a public assistance card?
Your public assistance.
Like on the bus?
So it's more your benefits.
Yeah, your benefits.
Maybe your SNAP or.
Oh, I got one. Y'all want to give us a SNAP?
I think maybe at one time they may have had a picture on there. They may have gone away from it.
Okay.
Same thing with like debit credit cards. You know, back when you could put your picture on it and personalize it, or if you were lucky enough to have one of those Sam's cards that were also a credit card that had your picture on it. But that's not as common. So that would be removed. Your student IDs. Your neighborhood association's retirement center. I know that again. I live in an HOA. We don't have one, but I'm sure if I created one and took it to, how do they know if that's valid or not? But you also want to think of something like Azalea Trace or the Villages, which may be one of those retirement centers that have something like that. But again. Who's to say who's created that? And of course, it's so easy to replicate identifications now. So
everybody needs to take a picture of that.
Again, we'll have it on our website. And I heard from Scott Lunsford last night. He was asking to make sure that our website was still accurate. It is still accurate. The acceptable forms of ID are not changing for 2026. Those go into effect on 1/1/27.
So everybody knows these will be in effect in 2027.
Right. And so. I say we usually ask for your driver's license, or that's usually what people use because it's the easiest, because it contains both your picture ID and your signature.
Right.
But for instance, military ID no longer has signature on it, so you would have to present some other ID that has your signature on it.
Wow.
It could be the back of a credit card or something like that. But again, military ID would still be acceptable. It just doesn't. It's just not it doesn't have both requirements on one.
I can't believe we're down to 3 minutes. Can you believe that?
Oh my goodness.
3 minutes. Oh man, it is gone. I mean, but this is what happens because this is so utterly important, and you don't watch the clock and you see when you're getting points out that the community needs to know. It seems to just go so quickly. But again, I want to remind you that this show will air again this afternoon at 6 o'clock. And if you have questions or concerns, 850-595-3900.
Yes.
Call Robert. I'll tell you what I research on. All I can tell you. I mean, because it's about finding out things. But I want you to get ready because tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, I've got some younger people coming in. I want to get inside their head to see what it's going to take for us to get those young people really motivated to vote. So I went from one side of town to the other side of town. Then I got two different people.
I know, right?
Okay.
That's okay. Yeah.
And I got both so I can understand both so we will know what we need to do to educate them. I want to encourage you to tune in tomorrow. As a matter of fact, throughout the next couple of months, I'm going to be doing that because I've reached out to several young people that I feel that would be an advocate to get their peers to see why it's so important to cast your vote.
Yeah.
And that's a way I'm going to do my part in to get them ready. So when the primaries come up on the August 18th, that line is going to be wrapped around the building 3 times.
Well, one, I think it's going to, just as this show, it's going to be upon us before we know it. The deadline is going to be here, so be election ready, get your vote by mail request in.
Yes.
Don't, also on election day at 6:58, don't say, "Oh my gosh, I have to go vote." You're going to be late.
You'll be late. You won't get there.
And so, but also, we are doing some promotion about America's 250. So, what better way to celebrate 250 years of America than to cast your vote?
Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you what, we've said a mouthful today, and I tell you, it's been a mouthful, and I still got a lot there to go. But look, I tell you, it's been fantastic. I cannot thank you guys enough. We got to come up with another date because I got to have you back again before the primaries.
Yep.
I got to, because we got to keep the people abreast of what's going on. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget now, tomorrow is going to be a very exciting show. I went a few numbers down. I got some younger people that have agreed to come in to talk about why is it, what can we do to motivate their generation to be a part of this electoral system that's coming up. But you can be there to pay attention. You can pass the word. Don't forget, tell somebody. Share with somebody if they don't know. I've got to get out of here because they tell it in my ear. You got 30 seconds. Hurry up. Okay, listen to this. I'm going to leave you as I do every single day. Never, ever, 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 ever lose your focus. Always remember to keep God first in whatever you do. Handle it like that, and I'll guarantee you'll be a total success. Until 9 o'clock in the morning, know that I love you with a perfect kind of love. Keep shining while I'm gone. Have a great day until then.
Sunshine's Corner, being brought to you by Quint and Richie Studer.